you start a child right, you make them bright. So if from a child you begin to hold that hand and say, write A, baby, and you help to guide them to write that A and that B and that C, if it's only the 3 letters for that period, and then they become accustomed to it, you don't know the boy or the girl that you would be producing for this nation.
Starting them right means everything. We're all in agreement. And there's consensus that the Early Childhood Commission, with its overall responsibility for early childhood care and development in Jamaica, and its integrated approach to bring all policies and standards under one umbrella, is definitely a move in the right direction. There is an air of urgency in the wider society.
My aunt is a preschool teacher. She owns her own basic school. And the amount of frustration she goes through because they're learning the fundamentals. If it is that you don't learn the ABCs and your 1, 2, 3, it is going to be hard for you to matriculate into primary school, then high school, then tertiary level education. So really, that is where the foundation is set. And if it is that the foundation is not set properly, then you're going to have problems. Just like a house, if you don't set the foundation properly and you get too rocky, it's going to drop. So more should be invested into early childhood development.
The improved outcomes that we want to see in our student performance and the quality of the character of our students, that will happen when we address early childhood education in a serious way. That is where the resources have to go. That is where the focus has to be. That is where your most talented teachers have to be. That is where all the social interventions have to happen with family and parents. Those little people, those 3 and 4 and 5-year-olds, that there is where the battle is won or lost.
Former Prime Minister Edward Seaga will not yield. This is critical. It can't wait. Let's go knocking on the doors of the National Housing Trust.
I suggested that out of the $20 billion that the NHT earns every year, you take out $2 billion a year for 5 years to rebuild the basic school system.
I think the NHT is supporting early childhood education, and the NHT is supporting education generally. The mandate of the NHT is to build communities, and schools are an integral part of communities. In fact, the mandate given to the board of the NHT is that as they develop new communities and new housing developments, that they must make allocation and provisions for education. And the bulk of that, I believe, would be going towards, as I've said earlier, the infrastructure for early childhood education.
It's the type of robust debate that brings into sharp focus how the whole transformation program will be sustained.
It has to be a partnership. Every stakeholder, every sector has to play their part. But having said that, it is ultimately the responsibility of government to lead. Government has to lead all the stakeholders, and government must make the commitment from the consolidated fund to fund as much of the education sector as we can. And we have done so both in our term previously, and we're doing so now in this term.
All institutions we actually have under our portfolio, we're putting and pulling them all together to sustain this robust education system that at the end of the day signal transformation and improve capacity to make sure that no child will ever, from henceforth, be left behind.
It has been challenging. Change is never easy. You would want to ask, with a wry smile, the director of the Education System Transformation Program, the indefatigable Jean Hastings, how this has been achieved.
Had a great team working with. I've deliberately tried to make us not a working team, but a family team, because then everybody wants to be the best they can be.
She also warmly acknowledges the sterling work of permanent secretaries in the ministry leading up to and during the transformation period. Marguerite Bowie, Maria Jones, Audrey Sewell, Elaine Foster Allen, Maurice Smith, and Dean Roy Bernard. And she notes the work of Barbara Allen and Dr. Grace McLean, who also acted during the period. Finally, We again turn to the director, known for her straight talk, for her reflections on the program.
I'm not saying that we are where we want to be as we, seek to pull the curtains down on the program. But the program was there to set the framework. It wasn't there to deliver on modernization. It was there to deliver the framework, put in place what needs to be put in place to take the country down the path to develop country status by 2030. This I think we have done. I think there's more to do, but it's not the end of change. It's actually almost like the beginning of your process now. Now that you have the road paved, go on the journey.